Welcome to Breaking Burnout for Nurses podcast. Thank you for being here with me, Troy and Nadirah Lugg. They're here today to share about burnout and how it can affect relationships. So, Troy,
Yes.
tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Troy Lugg. I'm a corporate safety director, also your number one motivational speaker. Yeah. But burnout is something real, especially within any relationship that you have. I've been married for 17 years to this beautiful partner that you see right here next to me. She's my best friend, my partner, my coach, but also within our relationship, we've experienced burnout. So I would love to be an open book for you to actually learn from our experiences. But hey, Nadirah, what do you have to say?
My name is Nadirah Lugg, and I am your clarity queen. And I love to tell people that I am a bridge maker, a bridge builder. So what does that mean? I build a bridge from spirituality and incorporating that into practical life of everyday life. I build bridges as far as helping people to coach them and finding clarity to achieve their best successful outcome, no matter what it is. I'll help to designate a nice, easy path for that. And also, I build a bridge in helping people to help cope with grief, when dealing with grief, when we have a transition loved one that has left this earthly plane. And sometimes, a lot of times, people think that the communication ends, but I'm here to remind people that love and legacy lives on forever, and that it is our duty just to learn a different way of communicating with them. But going back to why we are here, definitely in our 17 years of marriage, and we've known each other since 6th and 8th grade. So throughout that entire time, we have witnessed burnout within our own relationships, as well as past relationships that we've had and incurred with other people, and also in business.
All right. Yes. Well, with 17 years plus of a relationship, I know you've been through ups and downs with burnout. So now, how can you anticipate that your loved one is going through burnout? How can you anticipate that?
Well, I can anticipate my wife going through burnout. Burnout is when I see her character just not in the usual. She may be a little bit sluggish, not herself, a little bit just down and out, looking stressed out, just groggy and just not herself. But the way I can counteract that is by changing the tone, temperature, and the environment. What I mean by that, my wife's a big foodie. So I know to change the tone, I can always mention, let's go out to eat. And that will change the whole tone of her outlook on the day.
This is true.
Hey, I know. So what I would say, change that tone, change that temperature. Well, let's go to a nice restaurant. So that changes the temperature way up. Then I change the environment by taking her to a nice restaurant. And now that burnout really transitioned because her perspective has changed. And whatever she was facing, now we can have a great, open, honest conversation about what may be stressing her at that particular time. So, but that's how I face the burnout in our relationship, just by changing the tone, temperature, and the environment to have a safe conversation of what may be the concern or challenge that she may be facing, and being open and honest to actually have that conversation to help support and be a resource to my wife.
And Nadirah, now what do you think, besides him taking you out to a nice restaurant, what would be another way for him to help you with burnout?
Well, for some, and I'm one of those, I like to be more so reclusive. So I like to be to myself when I'm really trying to figure some things out. And so for me, it's also the respecting of space, because sometimes people just need time to be alone, to sort things out, even to go to the next step of verbalizing what the issue may be. Because sometimes there is an issue, but you just can't put words to it just yet. And so I know a lot of times when we're in our introspective moments, it takes some reflecting, even, sometimes writing things out, putting words to it. And then that way you can verbalize it to the next person that you're in a relationship with or in a business with to pinpoint what the issue is at hand. Because we go through waves. But like I said, isolation, being snippy with another person, very emotional, overly emotional than what you're usually used to exhibiting or experiencing from the other person. All of these things are definitely cues to know that your significant other or friend or business partner may be going through something that's a lot bigger than what you just think it may be.
So now, Troy, how would you say, what would be an example of how you would lead her through burnout besides going to a restaurant? That's a great idea, of course. I like that. But besides, her favorite restaurant, what are some other things that you can both do to help each other out?
Well, one thing I had to learn as far as being a man and a husband is actually being a listening ear. I'm a solution provider. I'm an engineer by profession and education. I have degrees in engineering, so I'm a solution provider. But as a husband and as her partner, I had to learn how to really be a listening ear. Like I said, whenever she comes with me with a stressful concern or even a stressful look, I always want to be the solution. Like, you should do this, you should do that. But at times I had to learn how to be the husband and just listen, listen. And that was the hardest thing that I had to learn how to do, being the only child in my life. I never had to listen to anyone else but myself. So being open to just listening to what my wife's concerns were, what her challenges are, and just being a listening ear was actually one of the hardest things that I had to learn. It took me at least 15 years within our relationship to really understand that, Troy, you don't always have to have a solution. You don't always have to have feedback. It's your time to just listen.
And Nadirah, now some people like to have like a girls' night out to get away from it all, or Troy, you might want to have a night out with the guys. Do you guys go through that where you have to just get away from it all, or get away from each other?
Yes, every blue moon. I'm a firm believer that we're all on this called life journey. We're solo adventurers. We really are. And so every so often we meet up at a crossroad, and it may be with your, again, your significant other. It may be a friend. It doesn't matter. But you come together and you exchange what you're going through. What were the solutions then? And then everyone else, we proceed on our solo journeys again, but with newfound information that we've shared with one another. So yes, there are times when I must leave my husband to find more feminine energy and embrace a more intuitive expression versus me having to just tell me what it is. What is it that we need to deal with so we can work with it, versus having my female, they have more softer deliveries, or again, very intuitive because they're going through the same thing with their significant other or in a similar situation. So it's not always my go-to because, again, not 9 times out of 10, I love to, become more so reclusive into listening to what my intuition is telling me. But I will say this too. Another quick solution, though, I'll enjoy a nice piece of chocolate and I'll watch a funny comedy that helps to lighten up the mood.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yes, to lighten up and find the humor in life. And that kind of helps to elevate into another state before I can go and talk again to whomever I'm having the issue with. Because 9 times out of 10, it's an issue that it's involving self first. And then it's just my job to not cut my husband out, but to include him that this is what I'm going through. But now I'm in a higher frame of mind after watching a comedy or eating a piece of chocolate to explain that to my husband. Yeah.
I love that piece of chocolate. Yeah. Even though sometimes it's just fun, you just have to laugh about
Yeah.
something. It could be so silly, but just to get you in a different frame of mind.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
So let's see. Any other pointers about burnout for couples?
I know for me, again, one of the strategies that has worked wonders in our relationship is, again, Troy being the solution person of right here, right now. When we've had conversations, sometimes I've taken in so much of what he says that I need time to dissect what he's saying, and just think about it, ruminate about it. And so I had to tell Troy, time out. There's too much going on right now. You can blame it on the Gemini. I'm getting too much truth right now, and I need to digest. I need a timeout. And I know back in the day, Troy would be like, "No, I mean, we're talking about it right now. Why can't we finish having the conversation?" I think it works wonders if you're able to tell your significant other or your friend or whomever, "I need a moment to process. Give me a minute. Let me process. Let's return back to this conversation." It could be 30 minutes. It could be, I try my best to let it be no more than an hour or so, but it allows me enough time to jot down my ideas, what I'm thinking, because with that back and forth conversation, there's just a lot going on. I got to take in what you said and I got to go back to what I said, but it helps to make the dialogue just a lot more peaceful and calm when you allow one another to have a timeout.
Hey, one thing I would say, just to piggyback off that, I'm sorry to cut you off, Bonnie, but through the challenges, sometimes it's just very important to just kind of reflect within your own thoughts of why everything took place. We are the cause for our own effect. But at the same time, what is the intention of the other person that we're having challenges with? What is their intention? So are they trying to hurt us or trying to help us? That was one thing as a husband I had to really come into understanding about our relationship. Whenever we had a conflict, is my wife trying to hurt me or help me? She is ultimately trying to help not only our relationship, but me. And I had to come into honest thought within myself to understand it and not to push away her intention, but to try to understand her intention. And by really understanding that, it really led me to fully grasp what she was trying to say, understand what she was trying to say, and definitely take it all in to really be fully committed and bought in to the whole process. And that's what I really appreciate, just being in a relationship with my wife. I just had to really reflect within myself to really understand, what is she saying and how can we push forward together in our relationship? Because oftentimes it's just your challenge, you don't understand, but at the same time, you don't really reflect on why the things are taking place the way they are.
I love that. So I love the way you two work your relationship out. And I think that helps you as you go out to have relationships with everybody else, because your relationship with each other affects how your relationships are with everyone else.
That's real talk.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. If you want more information about Troy and Nadirah, I'm going to have some information on my website at www.breakingburnout.com. We'll have a little bit about each one of them, and Nadirah will have a picture of her book on there. Yes. So please check out my website, and we'll have them back on another time for another topic.
For sure. Thank you for having us, Miss Bonnie.
Thank you.
Much love.
Thank you.